Right now, I'm sitting in the edit bay working on our latest production, True North. You guys have probably seen the BTS and the commentaries that we've been posting, and there's a lot more to come. Last night, while I was working on this edit, something hit me. And it's a problem that I feel like a lot of us as editors face over and over again. Like if I ask 10 editors what the biggest problem is when it comes to cutting a narrative film, you're going to get 10 different answers, like pacing or performance or structure or coverage. And honestly, all these answers are very valid, but none of them are the biggest problems that we face. Today, I want to talk about what actually sinks us as editors. And I'm speaking more from a personal experience because it's been wrecking me for quite some time now, and I've been meaning to get a video out to you guys about this topic. I just haven't had time to do so. Here's the thing. Everyone is going to have an opinion about your cut. Your director, your cast, your producer, your friends, everyone who's watched your rough cut on a laptop is going to have an opinion. And you can let all of those opinions pile up on you until you're going back through that same 10 seconds of footage for the 100th time, trying to make everybody happy. And if there's one piece of advice that I could give to you guys right now that is the best advice ever, is that you're not going to make everybody happy. There's always going to be that one guy out there that has an opinion that doesn't like your project. You can't let that get to you. You can make a decision to move on and revisit it if the director feels it doesn't serve the story, or you can go back to the edit and try to correct all those negative opinions. You know, at the end of the day, you got to make that choice, right? The editing choices that you make, you got to own. It's yours. You own that timeline. The director, yes, they do get the final word on the film, but the cut, that starts with you. So what is it? What's that one thing that kills more edits than bad coverage, bad performance, or even a script that needs another draft? Overthinking. And I'm not talking about like the surface level, you know, just stop second guessing yourself type of advice you probably heard millions of times on different YouTube videos. No, I'm talking about something that sits underneath the overthinking process and something that causes it. You lose sight of the story. That's it. Okay. And this has happened to me countless times. When you've been staring at the same footage for 8 to 10 hours, you stop being a storyteller and you start being a technician. And you're no longer asking, does this scene make the audience feel something? You're asking, is this cut perfect? And those are two completely different questions right there, right? You see, at the end of the day, the audience, they don't care about your final cut, right? They don't know what angle you chose or what take you used or whether that transition is a little soft. No, they just know if they're engaged in the story or they're not. So we got to come down to our mindset of where does this all come from? And here's where the overthinking actually starts. It starts with attachment, right? You're attached to the script. You shot it a certain way in your head, and now the footage, it doesn't look like like what you envisioned in the first place, and you're trying to force it onto the timeline. So you're attached to it, and you're attached to that one take where maybe the actor did something mind-blowing, even though it doesn't fit the story, and you try to put it on the timeline. Or you're attached to that one cool shot that you guys spent hours upon hours lighting just to get it perfect. And you want that in the script, but it doesn't serve the scene. You got to make those hard decisions to cut it. And on top of all that, you also got people in your ear giving you opinions. Like the director wants something done, the producer wants something else, right? And then you got someone in the comments of your latest BTS video who has a hot take on your entire movie project. And instead of making those decisions, you freeze, you tweak, you second guess yourself, and you tweak some more, and you go back and you tweak and tweak again. Does that sound familiar? Because this is something that I feel like a lot of us face, and I feel like it's a confidence issue as well, right? And it can lead to burnout from that. But how do you get out of this? Well, the fix is simple, but it's not easy. You see, you have to anchor every single decision back to one question. What is this scene supposed to do for a first-time viewer? Not for you, not for the director, and not for the actor, but for someone who has never seen a single frame of this footage and is watching your film for the first time. You got to have that mindset. Write it down before you touch the timeline. Like one sentence. Every cut that you make either serves that sentence or it doesn't. And that's the only question left on the table. Work in passes, not perfection. And you know, the other thing that's helped me along my journey is stop trying to solve everything at once. Because even professional editors don't do that, right? Like, we got to think about this for a second because, you know, pacing and performance and structure and sound design are not the same problem, right? You got to stop treating them like they are. You got to do a first pass just to get the story in order. And I don't care if it's ugly cuts or wrong music. That doesn't matter. Just lay it out on the timeline so you can see where the story is going to unfold. You know, just get it to make sense from start to finish and don't stop. Don't polish it. Just build that story. Then you go back and do a pass just for performance and you find which takes will feel true to you and where do, you know, the reactions land. And that is it. That's the whole job of that pass. And then we come down to the pacing pass. And then we go to the sound. And then we go into the final polish, which is like your aspect ratio, your VFX, your color grade, everything like that. Now, when you narrow the goal of each pass, your brain can actually do the work instead of spinning out trying to solve 10 problems simultaneously. It doesn't work out to your advantage and it does lead to burnout very fast. Here's the hard truth about opinions, though. And honestly, I want to circle back to what I stated in the intro about opinions, because everyone has one. And here's the brutal truth. Most of them come from a good place, and most of them will pull your edit in the wrong direction if you let them. What is your job? Well, your job is not to make everyone happy, like I stated. Your job is not to make everyone happy with the cut. Your job is to serve the story. The director gets the final say on the film, and that's the deal. But until you hand that cut over, you have a responsibility to make decisions and commit to them. A timeline full of indecisions is worse than a timeline with a few wrong choices. At least wrong choices can be fixed. Indecisions just makes everything like messy. At the end of the day, all you got to do is make the cut and own it. And if the director needs something changed, well, change it, but don't preemptively edit by a committee before anyone has even watched the final product. So the next time you're buried in the timeline and it feels like nothing is working, I want you guys to do this. Step back and breathe, take a second for yourself and ask yourself if you're still telling a story or if you've just been moving clips around hoping something will click. Get back to that one sentence, right? Remember who you're cutting for, your targeted audience, right? Work in passes and commit to those choices and be confident about yourself. Be confident about your choices. And I'm speaking to the choir because someone gives me an opinion about my project, the edit or whatever. I immediately shut down and want to go back and try to tweak it, even though it's picture locked. If you're in the middle of an edit right now and this hits home to you, drop a comment. I want to know what you guys are actually working on. And if you are part of this OIF group and doing the OIF challenge, put it in the comment section. I would love to know about it. And if you're someone that's just starting out in DaVinci Resolve, we do have a video for you. It is right here. Go check it out. It is our extensive breakdown into DaVinci Resolve to get you guys started. We're going to have a lot more to come.